Hello and welcome back to the American Fan Football channel, where we talk about everything involving the Premier League, Champions League, and everything else in the beautiful game. Today we are going to talk about why Thomas Tuchel got sacked. And I felt like I really needed to make this video because a lot of the comments on my video was talking about Christian Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech were slightly antagonistic towards me and said I was scapegoating these players. And I didn't think that was entirely accurate. I think what I was trying to do was pinpoint why Thomas Tuchel got sacked, and I think players like Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech played a part in that. So in this video, we're going to discuss the other reasons why Thomas Tuchel got sacked, and kind of where it went wrong, and what happened to get us to the point where we now have Graham Potter as our manager. So if you like the video, please drop a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. There should be another video dropping later in the day. That content will be about a debate on whether Arsenal or Tottenham are a better team. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So, Thomas Tuchel, his tenure under Chelsea kind of went from the greatest highs we've ever had as Chelsea to some very, very big lows, which were partially his fault and partially not his fault. I think a lot of the reason that Thomas Tuchel seemed like he was disinterested and had a bad attitude towards the end of his Chelsea career was because he was being given a lot of extra responsibility that he didn't necessarily want as a manager. I think the structure under Todd Bowley, when he first came in, he cleared out all of the upper level management. So Marina Granovsky, Bruce Buck, Petr Cech, all the players that were there to support Thomas Tuchel and give them players. So I think the added stress of basically being a manager, a scout, and player recruitment kind of got to Tuchel, and it got the better of him, and he wasn't ready for that added responsibility that was kind of thrust upon him, and he didn't really have a choice. That being said, he chose to stay in this role. He probably could have opted to walk away after the end of last season, and so part of it is not his fault, but then we have to discuss the part about his sacking that was entirely his fault. As people kind of made out in the comments of my Ziyech and Pulisic video, Tuchel did make mistakes, specifically with those players and with other players as well. I've also talked about Havertz in a video, and that was also a problem. So, Thomas Tuchel consistently did play players out of position, and that is a fact. That is undeniable fact. He played Ziyech at wingback. He played Pulisic at wingback, at striker, at winger. He played Ruben Loftus-Cheek at center mid, right wing back, right wing. He played him as a central center back. He played Reece James at right center back when he's clearly his best position is right wing back. So I think all of that tactical information that Tuchel was giving to the team was partially wrong. I don't think we should have been playing Ziyech at wingback. I think he was clearly not doing a job there, and I understood why he did it, because with the injuries to Reece James, we didn't really have any other option except for tactically making a switch. And he chose not to do that, and that was Thomas Tuchel's choice, and so he has to live with those decisions. And then I have been, one comment said Mount and Havertz were superstars lighting it up this season. And I know that's obviously being sarcastic. But I do think, specifically Mason Mount is incomparable to Havertz, Pulisic, Ziyech, and all the other attacking players because, let's be frank, he scored 10 goals, assisted 10 goals last season, and was frankly our best attacking player. So anyone who gives Mount hate and says Tuchel couldn't get the best out of Mount, even though he had his best season under Tuchel ever, you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm sorry. But yes, Thomas Tuchel still made mistakes, still deserved to get sacked, and he did. So I think that's in a large part because of the administration change. I think they wanted to implement their own manager and start their own project, and they didn't want any real association with the Roman Abramovich era, and I understand that. So I thought that Thomas Tuchel was immediately under more pressure because of Todd Bowley's kind of inclined to put his own man in the job. And I don't see anything wrong with this. I understand that he doesn't want to be associated with the Roman Abramovich era, and he wants to create his own era, the Todd Bowley era. So with that being said, it does make sense. I just personally wish that Thomas Tuchel got a little more time to see if he could make these new signings who we bought in undoubtedly to play for Thomas Tuchel and to play for Thomas Tuchel's system. I just wish he had more time to implement his tactics with players like Aubameyang and Sterling and Fofana, because they only played, well, Sterling played, the whole season, but players like Fofana and players like Aubameyang only got to play like 1 or 2 games under Thomas Tuchel when they were brought in as Thomas Tuchel targets. So that was just a little strange to me. But this season, he definitely had the players to get more points out of the games he was in charge. And he didn't do that, so he was sacked. And I think there's 2 ways to look at this. You can look at it as Todd Bowley was being unfair and he didn't give Thomas Tuchel enough time. Or you can look at it as Todd Bowley was trying to be proactive. He didn't want to wait until things got worse, and he tried to make a proactive move to change the manager before the season started. So I'm not making any excuses for Thomas Tuchel being sacked. I think the fault is of multiple people, but the fault is also partially on himself. So if he didn't make those mistakes, if let's say he was playing Pulisic at left wing consistently, which is undoubtedly his best position, it's where he thrived under Lampard, even though he was consistently injured. So even if he was playing Pulisic at left wing, Ziyech at right wing, and Havertz at maybe in a number 10, which is maybe his most natural position, I still think those players would have underperformed because I think they're not good enough. But with that being said, Thomas Tuchel still picks the lineup and picked them for positions that weren't their own. So he had to go. He brought the toxicity on the dressing room to himself, and there's no doubting that. And once you lose the dressing room as a manager, it is almost impossible to gain it back. So you either need a full clear out of the dressing room, or you can change the manager. And as we've seen time and time again as Chelsea fans, it is far easier to just sack the manager, bring in a new one, and the dressing room will at least somewhat recover, than to clear out, half the dressing room. Like I remember when Mourinho got sacked for the second time, players like Fabregas and Costa and Willian and Oscar, they were being slightly problematic. They weren't happy with the manager. They really wanted him to go. And ultimately, I think Mourinho did deserve to not be sacked because of what he did for Chelsea, even if we were in 16th at the time. Yes, I still remember that season very distinctly because it was one of the worst of my times as a Chelsea fan. But it's so much easier to sack a manager than it is to clear out a dressing room. And Todd Bowley didn't have enough time in the summer to clear out a dressing room. And I think he tried. He got rid of Werner. He got rid of Lukaku. He got rid of a lot of toxic players that were not helping the dressing room morale. But he couldn't get rid of Ziyech. We couldn't sell him back to Ajax like we wanted. We couldn't sell him to AC Milan like we wanted. And then we couldn't get rid of Pulisic because we couldn't find a suitor for him. So I think ultimately the failure to get rid of these players also contributed to Thomas Tuchel sacking. And I'm not saying these players needed to go because of Thomas Tuchel, but you have to pick between the players who are becoming toxic in the dressing room or the manager who potentially made them have to be toxic by either not playing them or playing them out of position. So that is kind of my rationale and thinking of why Thomas Tuchel got sacked. Justified or not, I want you to let me know in the comments what you guys think. I was just kind of trying to sum up the situation and respond to a few of the comments I'd be getting about my Ziyech and Pulisic video. And with that being said, I really want to say I will reply to every single comment that anyone posts on any of my videos. So if you are interested in having a discussion with me in the comments, please feel free to do so as well, to drop a like and subscribe on the video, as I would really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to be interviewed for a video and wants to tell me their opinions about really any topic, and I would be more than happy to get some fans, or I know you're probably not a fan of me because my channel is so small, but just fans of football in general, to have a nice discussion with me if anyone's interested in that. So please drop a comment on this video if you're interested in appearing in a video, and we can maybe set something up on like Zoom or something. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good day, and stay tuned for another video later in the day.